Hello everyone, welcome once again to Spinistry Live. I am your race host Kevin Lee, and we're going to talk about the state of Spinistry in the current world of COVID-19 and going into summer of 2020. I am in Sanger, Texas at the Railroad Ball Field right now. What we're going to talk about primarily while we're out and about scouting is, again, the state of Spinistry and how things are going and what changes may be coming and what we think are in the works and what it looks like COVID-19 might be doing to us in at least the semi-near-term future. Do us a huge favor, and we're definitely going to talk more about this during this ride. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and click on that bell for this YouTube channel. It's going to be hugely important for us to go forward to get as many people following these YouTube videos as possible. It's important for us to get followers on the YouTube channel. It's important for people to watch the videos, which, I mean, this is important for us to come up with content that you folks want to watch as a tool for us to get the message out, but for you to get the details of what's going on. YouTube's going to be very critical to that. And if we get to the point where YouTube helps us offset some of our costs for some of these things, from the ad revenue and things like that, it's a win-win for us. No, we are not building Spinistry to be a YouTube specific entity by any stretch of the imagination. We don't have any expectation of YouTube ever being in a position to be a primary revenue source for us. That said, if we can generate enough revenue from YouTube to help cover our monthly storage costs, fantastic. Just things like that. So again, please like the channel, like this video, subscribe to the channel, click on that notification bell so that you get notifications when new videos pop up. And this is actually hugely important. Please do comment on the video. If you have questions, if something doesn't make sense, or if you have ideas, please do comment on the videos. And the reason the YouTube stuff's going to be so important is we don't expect COVID-19 issues
1.5 miles, turn left,
around our events to disappear anytime soon. Hopefully we're proven wrong and everything goes back to normal in a few weeks here. I don't think that's a realistic expectation. Talking to some other promoters, it's what was isn't going to be for a while. Nobody has any idea how long that may or may not be. Those of you that have questions about, well, what are you going to do for this event? What are you going to do? We just don't know. There's no way at this point, early June 2020, to truly plan for anything going forward. My general game plan at the moment is to kind of we're going to do our club Spinistry safe start rides as much as is practical. We have one this coming weekend at the LBJ Grasslands. The one I'm scouting for right now out of Sanger. We're going to do those for club members, and the focus is definitely going to be on safety for myself, my family, my club members, anyone that helps us out. Man, this is such a pretty section. I don't expect us to do a traditional Spinistry event in June or July, and we'll do some highly managed club rides going forward, June and July. We're looking at the possibility of getting the Midnight Massacre in August. But right now it's just a consideration. There's no way to know how viable that is or is not at the moment. Realistically, I'm kind of looking at like let's see what happens with the potential COVID spike in Texas through the end of June. Obviously, it looks like, between Mother's Day and Memorial Day stuff and Texas opening back up, there looks like there's maybe a little bit of a spike coming on COVID-19. You throw in some of the protest stuff for the past couple weeks. Who knows? Maybe we get completely put on hold again in the state of Texas here fairly soon. We just don't know. So I'm kind of thinking, see what conditions are looking like for COVID-19 towards the end of June, and then we can start getting a better idea what may or may not be practical. So we have it kind of penciled in to maybe look at doing a midnight massacre in August. It won't be the traditional, I know it won't be the traditional midnight massacre. We won't have 300 or 400 people mass start out of the Valley View Town Square. That's not going to happen. But we don't know what is going to happen. So potentially August, we may have a traditional, somewhat Spinistry event for, more than just our club members.
In a quarter mile, turn left.
In September, we have Hell of the North Texas. That's penciled in with Tour de Paris. That is, at the moment, that's all it is penciled in. September 27th, Tour de Paris pushed their date to September 26th. So we're going to look at doing September 27th. If things are coming together between August and September, we'll probably try to do something with our International Grand Prix of Gravel that was originally tied in with the NAB show.
Turn left onto Nicholson Road.
North American Handmade Bicycle Show got pushed out of 2020. Don's gone ahead and made the call that they're not going to do the show in 2020. They're going to start making plans for 2021. We originally had an April date with them. Obviously, the COVID-19 stuff kicked in.
In 1.25 miles, turn
It's all a
right.
blur. Was that a March date or an April date? I can't even. I'm pretty sure it was an April date. And then that got pushed to August, and now they're pushing to 2021. But our friends at Panaracer, they stepped up for the International Grand Prix of Gravel with some prize money. We want to try to find a way to award that. And that's not an obligation thing. We're not going to do anything dangerous to take care of a sponsor. Actually, Panaracer was quite the opposite. They're like, you guys figure out, whatever works. And it could be a virtual race. It could be a Zwift race. It could be a Be Cool. Who knows? We don't. Most likely not. But we'll see what happens. So we'll do something with the International Grand Prix of Gravel, seeing how things go. I really think that the rest of this year, the rest of 2020 is going to be a lot of penciled in maybes, and the nuts and the bolts of it are that Spinistry won't be making any money this year, and I'm not saying that as a complaint. This isn't a boo-hoo, woe is me. This isn't a solicitation of no. I'm just trying to keep y'all. We're going forward that there's no way to make money in 2020, and so we do want to keep people engaged, but we want to do that in a safe manner, and we want to find what's the right way to do things, and help other promoters and help the community figure out ways to make that happen. But realistically, we're probably going to have to start casting a little bit wider of a net to best take advantage of the assets we have for adventure. We're going to be most likely shifting our adventure platform, the stuff we do to get people out and about and see new things.
In a quarter mile, turn right.
We're always going to be cycling #1 focused, but realistically, the adventures we put together for the bicycle crowd, some of those things are things that other groups are interested in as well. So we've been touching on it a little bit. Overlanding, we think there's some potential for those people to enjoy our routes. Kind of what I have in mind to kind of label us on a more general basis, so people that are outside the cycling communities, have a sense of what we're trying to do and what we might be able to offer folks. Is Spinistry adventures. So definitely bikepacking, endurance riding. That's all top of the pile there. That's top of the pyramid, the pinnacle. That's still our main focus. But we're going to do some stuff to help out folks that are interested in overlanding and car camping, or maybe just camping for the first time, and things like that. So we're going to look at that. Dual sport riders, dual sport motorcycle riders. The routes that we do for our bicycle routes are very appealing to dual sport motorcycle riders as well. Over the years, we've had quite a few of them reach out to us and want some help with routes or suggestions and things like that. And all this is kind of a general thing, but what we're going to use as kind of the common thread for these things going forward, we think, I'll qualify this. If COVID-19 disappears and like that, we're back to normal and able to do everything again, there's no doubt that the easiest solution is just to go back to doing traditional Spinistry stuff. I don't think that's going to be a likely scenario. So what we're going to kind of use as our common thread for these groups, and this is why the YouTube aspect of it's going to be pretty important, is our going to California coast to coast adventure / gravel route that we're putting together. We're gonna talk that up to the overlanding communities as well, to the dual sport riding communities as well. The idea, the reality is there aren't very many people that are ever going to be able to, no matter what mode of transport, do our going to California 4,500 mile route in one go. Not many people are going to be able to do that, but I do see where people are going to attempt it in chunks, or people are just going to do the segments that are convenient for them to do, be it near their home or somewhere they're already traveling and things like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a lot of YouTube content as we finish scouting the route, and I'm really hoping we can find a way to get that in.
In a quarter mile, turn left.
Definitely in 2020. I'd love to get it in. I'd love to shoot still for prior to Labor Day to have it done. Weather's always going to be a factor. There's no route you can do all the way across the United States. That's a 12-month route. And we're going into summer now, so we've got things like the Mojave Desert in the mix now and things like that.
Turn left onto Rector Road.
The reality is, except for a couple of spots maybe in Colorado, most of this route will be doable in the winter. We have a couple of passes in Colorado that would be tough midwinter. But who knows, maybe we come up with an approved go around for those during the time, depending on time of year.
In 2 mile, turn right.
Summer's going to be problematic for the route because it's kind of a southern oriented route to be basically, 9 months out of the year route sort of thing. So we can probably still scout it in the summer in the vehicles. So we're gonna shoot for that, but there is the problem of just making the schedule work in general. Where we're at with our going to California, we're gonna call it an adventure route. It's not a gravel route because there's physically no way to do continuous gravel across the United States. There are some states that hardly have any gravel, for example. So it's highly unlikely that you're going to ever be able to tie a continuous gravel route together. That said, we do try to get as much as possible, and even the segments we do that are paved, it's still, for the most part, some pretty cool back roads, country road type stuff is what we're going for. So we call it an adventure route, probably in the neighborhood of 70-ish% dirt and gravel. That's a really loose. We haven't done anything west of Monument Valley yet. That's as far west as we've gotten with scouting the routes. So we're final in Colorado, we're final in New Mexico, we're final in Texas, we're 99.73% final in Louisiana. I call it final because I can make it work with what we've already been on. I'd just like to fine tune a little bit if possible, but if that fine tuning doesn't work, one more short trip to Louisiana, we can fall back on what I've already been on. Florida is final. Georgia is final. Alabama and Mississippi. Alabama is 50-ish% final. Mississippi, I need to actually check all of it out. The problem we've run into with Alabama and Mississippi is they've just been crazy wet this year. So we need to get out and do our western scout, which is critically important. And it's also in the realm of stuff I know outside of what I have mapped out and some generic internet type research.
In a quarter mile, turn right.
I don't know what I'm actually really going to come across, what the roads are like out there, what the land management's like and things like that. I think I have a generally pretty good idea about it, but I got to get out there and get familiar with it. It's going to be tough to tie together from northeast Arizona through Arizona up into Utah.
Turn left onto Frontage Road to I-35.
Down into Nevada and through California. That's going to be tough to tie all that together. Oh, and then, end up at the Pacific Ocean. So to actually get all of that scouted for what's brand new to me, areas of the country, huge swaths of it, and some of it extremely remote, extremely desolate, to try to get all of that knocked out between now and Labor Day is probably an unrealistic expectation. I think it's completely realistic to have it knocked out by the end of the year, though. And I think that'll actually be some interesting content there, particularly Arizona to the Pacific Ocean, of scouting a route for the first time that's been mapped out and trying to verify that the maps work. So that'll be, I think there's some really good content to be had there. Show folks, how we go about doing things. Obviously, scouting all that mileage, we don't do that on bicycles. We go out and we do that in the Jeep or the truck or whatever other motorized transport. Don't have a motorcycle at the moment. Doubtful that my wife's going to let me have another motorcycle, but who knows? Maybe a dual sport setup comes out in the future. But doing all that's basically going to be a big overland exploration trip for us. So it makes sense for us to show people, hey, Our plan isn't to stay at the Hampton Inn every night. Probably what we'll do, we do have our small travel trailer. Probably what we'll do is
In a quarter mile, turn right.
we'll kind of take that to a base of operations, centralized area, drop the trailer that we come back to every other night or something like that.
Turn right onto Luganville Road.
And then just do single day, 2 or 3 day trips, that go out and explore the route itself, and I can overnight on BLM lands, setting up a tent or sleeping out of the truck or whatever else. And so there'll be some true overlanding adventures going along those lines. We're doing our traditional Spinistry 2 birds with 1 stone thing. We're scouting a little bit of a route for our club ride, but I'm also making my way to storage because I gotta go do some maintenance on the travel trailer. The least fun maintenance on the travel trailer. We gotta go dump some poo. I hate doing that, but it's gotta be done. Because we're going to be using the travel trailer for our LBJ Grasslands weekend this weekend. So we're taking a very roundabout way to storage, but it also allows me to check out a couple of critical spots on our potential route for the 20th weekend. So the idea is we'll do a lot of content around the initial scouting of the routes, but once we get that
turn left onto FM 2450 south.
once we get that part from Monument Valley to the Pacific Ocean figured out, the plan will be to actually then do,
2 mile, turn left.
the plan will be then to start over at some point and go ahead and do the whole going to California route end to end, starting in Florida and going all the way, from the Atlantic to the Pacific, all in one trip. Or, realistically, probably not one trip, but do it end to end in the proper sequence, and get some more details on some of the spots in between for overnights and eating or whatever else may be kind of special and different out there. We'll go ahead and do another end-to-end trip of our going to California route and document that sequentially. And it'll also give us the opportunity to maybe fine-tune a couple sections. This is still dirt. It's good to see. That'll give us an opportunity to fine-tune some sections and slightly alter the route. There might be a couple spots where we need to, because the way it was originally laid out was, obviously meant for bicycles. So there's sections that we used bicycle trails and things like that obviously Jeeps and overland vehicles, dual sport motorcycle riders won't be able to utilize. Not a whole lot of that. It was mostly stuff in the urban areas, utilizing bike trails, so bicycles don't have to, use some extremely busy road sections and things like that. So we'll make sure that we adjust the routes to accommodate all of the potential users and document all that appropriately. So that's kind of what we're thinking about for going to California and our YouTube content. Extremely important for our YouTube channel to be in a position to get monetized. And basically what that means, we need at least 1,000 subscribers, and we need X amount of hours of views from those subscribers, sort of thing. So we don't want to do that by guilting folks into, hey, subscribe to our channel, please. We need it. No. We want to provide adequate content to make it worth people's while to watch that. So that's why it's extremely important for y'all to provide the feedback we need on that.
Turn left onto Ganser Road West.
You know, we need to know the content that you need to see to help you figure out what you want to do on these trips, what you need to help you with these trips, and things like that. You know, could very easily be that we're getting way too basic
1.25 miles, turn right.
and sharing information that nobody needs. Or it could go the other direction. We're skipping some extremely basic stuff that people need to know about. So, you know, fill us in, tell us what you want to see, and that way we can put together the content, and then hopefully that content is what sparks people to come out and ride some of the segments, ride and drive and camp and adventure on Spinistry Adventures in the mode that best suits them. I can definitely see the potential of Spinistry Adventures, Club Spinistry, branching out for membership from overlanders and dual sport riders and things like that. But we want to, you know, we want to know what they need to make a membership worthwhile to them. I know it's going to be more than the routes themselves. So we might do some, you know, overland weekend get-togethers and things like that. Club Spinistry gives us a lot of flexibility to do some group outings in like the national forests and BLM lands where, you know, as long as our group's, you know, below a certain number of people and we're not charging an actual entry fee, that's, you know, that's one of the benefits of the club membership is we can do these group outings in areas that typically you're not able to do that and in ways you're not able to do. So I see a lot of benefit along those lines. Then it makes sense for maybe somebody in Louisiana to join Club Spinistry, you know, get our all the way across Louisiana route to do whenever they want to. But hey, you know, 2 or 3 times a year, maybe we show up in the national forest in Louisiana and do a long weekend bicycle adventure or overland adventure or a combination of the two, and you know, folks get to hang out with other like-minded folks and things like that. We're not gonna get it right from the get-go. There will be changes and alterations along the way, but your feedback's going to be